Blindness is defined as the lack or the loss of ability to see. Someone who is blind is defined as having 20 over 200 vision. There are two types of blindness, being partially blind and being completely blind. If you're partially blind, you can see certain things or certain shades of dark and light. If you're completely blind, you cannot see anything at all. This happens over a long period of time, or it can happen suddenly.
In the earliest years of humanity, people who were blind were seen as completely worthless, and babies who were born blind were often just left outside to die. Anyone who survived often lived as a beggar or was sold into slavery or prostitution. It wasn't until the Middle Ages when society began to develop the attitude that it was their responsibility to care for people with differing abilities, and they began to develop institutions to support the blind community.
Beginning in the late 1700s, a number of schools for the blind were established in Europe and then the United States. Beginning in 1850, these schools started preparing blind people to work as adults, and they taught them trades. In the 1900s, there were a number of laws that benefited people who were blind.
One of these laws was the IDEIA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act. This federal law provides funding to school districts so that people with disabilities can be educated in the least restrictive environment, giving people with disabilities, including the blind community, opportunities to learn that they otherwise would not have.
Three major leaders within the blind community include Louis Braille, Jacobus Tenenbroek, and Kenneth Jernigan. Louis Braille developed the well-known tactile reading and writing system by 1820. It wasn't adopted until 1918, though, because many people were skeptical about it. He came up with this system at the age of 12, but went blind at age 3 due to an accident. By creating this system, Louis could give blind people an easier and additional way to learn besides listening, which created a lot more independence for the blind community. Jacobus Tenenbroek was the founder of the National Federation for the Blind. He was also an author, jurist, and professor. He became entirely blind by the age of 14, and then went to the California School for the Blind. Here he joined many blind councils, leading him to creating the Confederation. He was later a member of the California State Board of Social Welfare, where he worked on the board, and he also served as a chairman. He was inspirational because he said that blindness didn't make him abnormal. He could still do anything he wanted to do, he just had to do it in a way that he could accomplish it. This mindset and many speeches helped to spread awareness about blindness and motivate many people who were blind themselves. Kenneth Jernigan was a well-known teacher, writer, and administrator. He was a leader in the National Federation for the Blind for more than 46 years, which included his role as president. He was also a member and later vice president for the Tennessee Association of the Blind. In 1960, the Federation presented Jernigan with its Newell Perry Award for outstanding services and accomplishments for the blind. In 1968, he was also given a special citation by the President of the United States for his work. His writings and speeches on blindness have been very inspirational for many people, blind or not, due to his wonderful mindset and wonderful words.
There were several organizations created in order to support the blind community. One of these organizations was the American Printing House for the Blind. This was the official printer of school books for students who were blind, and it included all of the work they were doing in Braille.
Another organization is the National Federation of the Blind, or NFB, and it was in fact this organization that promulgated the idea that blindness is not the problem, but rather society's negative attitudes towards loss of eyesight. Today, the NFB continues to provide services to the blind community and research regarding the loss of eyesight.
The American Council of the Blind strives to increase the independence, security, and equality of opportunity and quality of life for the blind and visually impaired people. This mission statement was taken from their site. They also state that the ACB and its affiliates have been at the forefront of the creation of policies that have shaped the opportunities that are now available to people with disabilities in our country. ACB has also effectively collaborated with vision rehabilitation service providers to develop principles and values that should be at the heart of providing adjustment and placement services to people who are blind. Their focus is on the individuality of a person, rather than blanketing everyone under the same expectations. This helps someone get the help they need, rather than the help that they think they need, which could hold a person back.
There are many well-known people who are blind or have a loss of eyesight. One of them is the world-famous tenor Andrea Bocelli, who was born with congenital glaucoma and was completely blind by the age of 12. Nonetheless, he has gone on to perform around the world and win countless awards for his music.
The horse gives you moments of peace, serenity, which are difficult to find any other way.
On MasterChef, a top cooking show on the Food Network, a woman named Christine, who is blind, goes on to win the entire competition. She does this even though the judges, including Hell's Kitchen's Gordon Ramsay, had their doubts about someone who is blind being able to cook.
Hard not to be impressed as she feels her way through the recipe, only occasionally needing my help to eyeball a measurement. How much do you spill?
I don't know, you tell me. Did I spill anything?
None right now, none, which is amazing. Her kitchen does have a few special tools, a talking thermometer,
136,
homemade braille bumps on the stove, and oven mitts so large they look like they belong to an astronaut. Somehow, it all comes together. Should I yell at you like Gordon Ramsay?
Sure, why not? For
You're
old
used to
times?
it now.
Yeah, make me cry, please.
All right. The ice cream is good, but it's not my opinion that counts. The real judges awarded Christine $250,000.
One well-known blind person is Stevie Wonder, who's known for his amazing work as a pianist, songwriter, and singer.
Never having seen a musical instrument, what images had come to mind when he first heard music?
I remember thinking when I heard guitars playing, it reminded me of butter. You know, and I think that was because I was, you know, there were like a lot of different jazz musicians that I heard. My, I guess, first memory, I thought of even Wes Montgomery as I grew older to know that was him.
According to a report done in 2014 by the American Printing House for the Blind, they serve approximately 60,000 students who are blind. In New Jersey alone, there are over 179,000 people who are blind or who have visual impairments.
These statistics show that the community of people who are blind or have visual impairments is widespread and that society needs to continue providing them with resources to support them.